Hey guys, it's Megan, and today I filmed this look featuring the Carli Bybel palette by BH Cosmetics. I am so in love with this palette, you guys, and I just had to film a tutorial using it. I know that it's been out for a minute, but I feel like the palette is perfect for summer and fall. I am so in love with this palette, you guys. I'm in love with the packaging. I mean, come on, it's got this pretty white, like, cushiony pattern, and then all of the decals on here are rose gold, so like, you know I'm all about that shit. It's got a really good range of colors for summer and for fall. You know, it's got a few of your, you know, dark plum shades, and it's also really warm. So I love it for this time of year, and it's definitely been my go-to palette. It's also been my go-to to-go palette. Like when I'm going somewhere, I always just throw it in my bag because, I mean, look at it. It's got all of the shades you would need to complete a look. It's got, you know, your shade for underneath your brow bone. It's got your dark shades, your transition shades, and then it's got all of these beautiful highlighters down here. I feel like all it would really need to be a perfect palette for your whole face would be to throw a blush and maybe a bronzer in here, because you can kind of use this shade here to contour or to use for bronzing, but there's, you know, not really anything I can use for a blush. So that would be my only thing, but I mean, it's $22 and the quality is like that of a palette you'd buy at Sephora. And if you were to buy this at Sephora, like say this was by Too Faced or something, it'd be like $100. So I think it's great value. The palette comes with 15 eyeshadows and 6 highlighters, and the eyeshadows are super pigmented and super gorgeous, and the mattes blend out super seamlessly. And on top of that, the highlighters are blinding. Like, these are some of the best highlighters I've ever used. I'm just gonna swatch one of these. Here, let's do this one and this one real quick so that you guys can see just kind of how, or we'll do this purple one down here too because it's so pretty. Just so you guys can kind of see. Like, are you kidding me? Look how blinding those are. And I'm pale, so they show up really well. And then it's got such a good range of colors for people of color too. I use this one too. It's not too dark for me, but it's also got dark enough shades that you can get enough definition if you're one of those more deeper toned people, unlike I, unfortunately. But yeah, I really just wanted to sit down and film a look using this palette because I love it so much. Actually, I love it so much that I got 2. This is my first palette, and as you can see, it's been through a lot. The Carli Bybel palette here has seen better days, and on the inside, it's obviously a disaster too. This literally just happened, like filming today. It wasn't even dug into like that. I'm so sad, but I have another one for a reason, and I'm gonna try to keep that one as nice as possible. I had to buy 2 because it's just so high quality, and since it is limited edition, I didn't want to have any risk of not getting another one since my first one is so jacked up. I think that's pretty much all I have to say about it. I love it so much. Shade range, pigmentation quality, on point for the price. Miss Carli Bybel and BH Cosmetics, you guys are killing the game, and I hope that BH keeps it up with the rest of their palettes. I'm sure they will. But, yeah, I think that's all I have to say about it, and without further ado, let's get into the tutorial.
Alright, so I'm going to start off by blending this peachy sort of nude shade into my crease to use as a transition shade, and I'm using a Wet n Wild blending brush for that, which I really like because it just helps to get a really nice and blended, diffused look, and it's super affordable and gets the job done. And then I'm just going to blend this mauve sort of plum shade into my crease using a Morphe M139, and I'm just going to keep that nice and diffused into the crease, but also nice and blended out, and then that'll just help to build up that gradient effect and also build up definition into the crease. And then I'm just blending that out using that Wet n Wild blending brush, and then using a number 6 brush from the BH Cosmetics Crystal Quartz brush set, I'm just going to blend that plum shade into my crease, focusing it into the outer corner and then dragging it across the crease, but just underneath that mauve shade. And then I'm blending that out using a Morphe M441. Next, I'm going to take my Tarte Shape Tape Concealer and I'm just going to cut my crease using a Morphe M432. And I'm just going to cut that crease just slightly higher than my natural crease, which will help my eye to look bigger than it actually is. And I'm just going to keep that line nice and defined, and then I'm going to blend that concealer down onto the rest of my lid, which will help to create a really nice base for this next shade. And so I'm just going to take this pink to gold duochrome shade on a Morphe G19. This really is my favorite shade in the palette. And I'm just going to pack that onto the lid. I did wet my brush using some setting spray, which will just help the shade to be as vibrant and as pigmented as possible. And then taking that Morphe M139 and that deep plum shade, I'm just going to blend that into the outer corner and then blend it into that duochrome shade there on the lid. And then I'm using that Wet n Wild brush to just blend everything out and make sure that there's no harsh lines. Then taking that Tarte Shape Tape again, I'm going to draw a triangle of concealer underneath my eye. And then using a damp Real Techniques beauty sponge, I'm just going to go ahead and blend that in. I also set it with some Airspun loose face powder, but I didn't get that on camera. And then using this cream shade on a Morphe M421, I'm just going to put that underneath my brow bone to highlight, and then that'll just give the effect that my brow bone is raised. Using this burnt orange shade on a Morphe M332, I'm going to smoke out my lower lash line and then blend that into the outer corner. Just make sure everything is nice and diffused. And then using this banana colored shade from my Wet n Wild contouring duo, I'm just going to go ahead and put that underneath my eyes to make it look nice and bright. And then for lashes today, I'm using my Ardell Mega Volume Lashes in the style 253.
Alright, so I'm back with some lashes, and I was going to film what I just did, but I didn't realize my camera wasn't recording. I just went ahead and lined my waterline using my Urban Decay 24/7 waterline pencil, which is my favorite black eyeliner I've ever found. All that's left is to do my face routine and my lips, and you guys have already seen me do this a bunch of times, so I'm just going to run through it real quick. I'm going to go back into voiceover mode so that you guys can see what I did on my face, and then I'll be back to talk about the